Good morning, art buddies, and welcome to Bricolage with Paint Girly. Today, I am going to attempt to work on at least one slow stitch project that I started probably a couple of years ago. Emphasis on the word slow. So if you're joining me live, welcome, welcome. If you're watching the replay, thank you so very much. I hope you find something interesting and inspiring. Or at the very least, I can do better than she's doing. So trying something new, that's always cool. Love that. So the other day I was looking through some boxes and bins, and I have this one plastic container that resembles really a sewing box. I thought, oh, what did I put in there? So I opened it up, and there were a lot of threads and things on the top. It has a little tray. And then underneath, I found some of these things. And I thought, oh, maybe I could work on some of that on one of my lives. So these two first things that I'm going to show you are what I called my booty bear. Now, I'm not remembering the face, but someone I watched, I'm telling you, this is at least 2 years ago, was painting on paper and doing little faces. It might have been Kathy Arbor. Could have been Murray from the Murray Atelier channel. And so there was some watercolor, and you can see some stamping, and then we were just putting little eyes on. So I'd made several of these and then was inspired to attach it to fabric. So I thought I could make a little bear. So I just took some scrap paper that I had and drew out a rough shape. As you can see, it's very rough. And did a couple layers with batting. And I called it my booty bear because I wanted to attach things that, I didn't maybe want to use in a project and really had no place to keep them. So this way I could just put them on. So this one, I like this little applique. Let the bottom of that, just dangle. This is a piece of sari silk. This is, I think, a pin that if you purchase anything from Keisha's Creations from the market, she'll usually include a little thank you. And she usually has something like this. So I'm thinking this is from her. And then down here, I built a cluster. And you can see my machine wasn't doing so great the day I made this, but I just stitched around right through. Now on the back, I put this really soft felt. This is a little item my friend Joyce, who's no longer with us, gave me a little set of these pins that came from a shop called 1,000 Ideas or something about 1,000. Anyway, it's a bunch of people from foreign countries that do handwork and they sell their products. So there was like 3 or 4 of these little guys in the pouch that my friend Joyce gave me. So I put that on there. A button that I really liked, pretty piece of lace. And I have 2 of them. I did sell a couple of things that I made. See that little bee pin? I didn't want to use that on anything. I wanted to keep that for myself. This little pin, purple applique, and I can certainly, here's another one of those guys. And I can attach stuff or remove it if I do want to use it for a project, if I change my mind. So this might be an idea for you if you've got some scraps of fabric laying around. Doesn't have to be this shape or a bear. It could be a circle, that you can just sit on your bureau or a tapestry. You could do it like just a flat square piece and put it on a dowel and some rope and hang it on the wall. It's fun. It's just a fun project. So I enjoyed those. And then as I was digging through my box, I found these other things. Now, When I was with Keisha's Market, I had gotten the brilliant idea to make a kit where I provided you with the beginnings of a slow stitch project. Now I remember, I forgot to look for this. I'll have to look. What can I'll write it on here. I'm not sure if her channel is still called the same or if she's really actively using her channel. But one of the gals in our community, Carol, I think her last name may be McDonald, and she used to call herself the Canadian Artisan. I think it's Carol. I gotta make sure I look her up. But I remember, gosh, it has to be at least 2 years ago, if not longer. Good morning, Angie. One of the first things I remember seeing her doing was a needlework project. And I think she did a whole year in stitching, month by month. And it was a big scroll. It was absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure that video is still available for you to see. So I'll try to locate that and put that in my description box. But in the kit that I made, I gave just a little piece of like batting and then a fabric on top. And I think I might have provided like a spindle or a spool that you could attach to the one end and roll up, and then a backing piece. Now, I'm not a stitcher. I'm quite the novice. I don't know how to make most like embroidery type stitches. But this morning I was thinking, what is slow stitch? So when I looked it up on the internet, it said slow stitching is not, it's not about it getting quickly done. It's like telling a story. It's about the journey. And it's like using your thread and needle like you would use your paintbrush. So I thought that was cool. And that's really kind of what Carol did in that project. I don't even remember what she called it, but it was gorgeous, just gorgeous. So here I found something else. This is another little strip that I had started. I just have it pinned together. There's not too much. I don't think there's too much in the way of batting here, but you could layer different fabrics. If you have fabrics laying around, you could do it like a Kantha type fabric, where you just layer different pieces. So I don't know what this will end up being, but I had that in my little box. And then look, I had started this. So this is just a smaller strip. As you can see, I've got some batting in there. This is the back of an old quilt. And then I just blanket stitched around the edge. This could really be a book cover if I wanted to. So who knows what I had in mind to make that. Oh, it could be a needle case. Maybe I'll put that over there. So that's something I started. Initially, I was looking for something when I sit in my chair in the evening and my husband's got the TV on. I usually like to color, or I might be crocheting, or I might have a knitting project. I like to have a couple of projects by my chair. If I don't feel like coloring on any particular night, I can pick up something else. So I thought I need to get back to maybe some of these things here. So let me show you this. I was inspired to do this. Dee Dee Willingham has made in the past prayer scrolls. So this is my prayer scroll. And I didn't do terrific. I didn't really think how to develop this or create it. So I had to kind of step back and punt to cover my yucky stitches on the back. So this, I just attached a little piece of, hey, Connie, good morning. Happy New Year. This is a little piece of, from a shindy carpet, a little piece of fabric from a carpet I took apart. So in the top piece is a piece of ribbon. I think Dee Dee uses a ribbon. And then I just took things that I liked and just started stitching them on. There I attempted, I don't even know what that stitch would be called, but look, this is from an old, I don't know, bra or some kind of a girdle or course. What do you call it? A garter, maybe a little piece of old garter. I purchased a lot of buttons and there were other things, you know, in there. This is just a regular 4-hole button and I just stitched it like that. This is a piece of trim and put some beads on. And then I just made these I stitched in between so I could put my little scrolls in. And then a little bit of bling. I think that's just a clip-on earring. So you can go on the internet, if you're watching this, you're watching me, you can go on the internet and get I didn't hook it, tons and tons of ideas. Now, because I'm really not a sewer or a stitcher, I don't know a ton of other folks on the internet that do this kind of work, but I have been to and like the work of a gal by the name of Susan Taylor Brown. And so I will put her channel in my description box after this live uploads. And she does something she does a lot of stuff. She's very organic. Her work is very organic and hands-on, of course. And she's clever and she's got a lot of great ideas and her work is just beautiful. But she makes these little books that she calls Just Because books, all out of cloth, and she stitches on the page. Oh my gosh! So that's the video I'm going to put in my description box because it's just so yummy. So if you'd like to see more or get some ideas, you certainly want to visit her. And then I don't know if not so many are coming in this morning, so if anybody else comes in, or I see there's a couple of you here, nobody's chatting. Sorry, Ange, nobody's chatting. You may have some other channels that you watch that someone, does hand stitching. These years ago, I would just say it was embroidery, but it's more than that. It's telling a story, like journaling with little bits and bobs and a thread and a needle. So I started this holiday piece, same idea. I've got a little bit of something in there to serve as a batting to make it thicker. But see, I didn't think about starting it before I put my needle through and stitching on the back. So I think I kind of got discouraged with this one and stopped working on it. But I've got a couple different things on here. I'll just show you. It's a piece of ribbon. And then I had some holiday fabrics. I cut all the little bits out and just attaching them, stitching them down. Was that today, Ange? This is an Angie yo-yo. So I stitched that down, put a little button in the center. So you can see I have a red truck trimmed out here that he needs to get just stitched down. I don't have to do anything fancy, but just stitch down a little piece of paisley. Now I've pinned these things down to put them where I think, I want them to be. That can be cumbersome. So if anybody has an idea, you're still making them, Ange? I love yo-yos. I'm not sure. There might be a better way to do this because when you do start stitching, if you've got a bunch of needles or pins holding things down, your thread can get hung up on that. And that can be, I got to be honest, a little frustrating. So this is another piece of holiday ribbon that I really liked. This is more ribbon. That was cut out from the fabric. As you see here, I have my needle just from years ago when I used to do counted cross stitch. This is not a good idea because then if you didn't get back to it for a while and your needle gets rusty, it can make a mark. So you probably should always remove your needle. Looks like I got to put my other glasses on. Looks like I'm doing some kind of stitch on that heart. The only stitching I know, I don't even know what they're called. Like I know how to do a French knot, but if you watch Susan Taylor Brown, you'll learn a lot of different stitches. And then I put this snowman on the end, and you can see here where I started to do the blanket stitch. It's just kind of come off of the corner. So that's in progress. Some work to still do, of course, on that. Oh, see, here's another little piece of that ribbon. This was wired ribbon. I took the wire out. I don't know what I would do with this. I don't know why I made it this size. You wouldn't really want to hang that. Well, I guess you could hang it this way, but you really wouldn't want to hang that on the wall. It certainly would be a crazy size for any kind of a journal cover. But I guess I could cut it, right, and use it in pieces if I wanted to use it to make a finished journal or something. But for now, that's just the way it's going to be. And then this is my bigger piece. This I used, I think, from a kit that I had put together and didn't sell. So this one is where I started to wise up a little bit. So you can see my pieces of batting. I'm just stitching through, and then I'll come back and cover the back with a nice piece of muslin or something, and then finish off with like a blanket stitch on the outside edge. There's a thread I have left hanging. I basted my squares on. I think I stitched together squares that I wanted to use as a base, and then I basted on that strip of fabric onto my batting. See, and I just had little chunks of batting. So rather than throw those out, I just pieced them on so I could use them up. So again, just put on, oh, I have it going the wrong way. Hold on. Let's go back this way. So I just attached, and I think my idea was I would put some kind of a dowel or something in the end here. So maybe I could hang this. A little heart. You can see my stitches are very elementary, if you will. This is a different stitch. I forget what it's called, but I saw Susan Taylor Brown doing that. And you get a really long needle and you wind, maybe bullion, maybe, something like that. For that stitch. And then I don't know if you can tell, but I've got a lot of little seed beads on. I said to Kelly and Rawson the other day, I've never stitched on a sequence. I still haven't. To me, this slow stitching is kind of like doodling. It's hard for me to come up with ideas. Here's another Angie yo-yo. And I put a button in the center. Put different appliques here. Here's some more of that I had on the one bear. I love this, that it dangles. But see, this all needs to be stitched down. This could use a button or a bead in the center. Here I did some more of that bullion. Ange and Connie, do you do any hand stitching? Do you know what that stitch might be called? These are French knots. Another channel that does she does a lot of different things, but she does do some hand stitching, is Janet Nash. She comes to mind. You don't? There's Gail. Hi, Gail. Gail's a stitcher. Slow stitching. That's okay. That's okay. No problem. Nice to see you. Yeah, this is one of Gail's passions. She loves the slow stitch. So don't judge me, Gail. This is just a piece of ribbon I made into a bow and stitched it down. So I pulled out I don't know. I don't even remember what I said. So I don't know if I ask a question. Um, so I might work on this, but I wanted to show you this. I was enabled, as most of you know, I'm easily enabled. So I've had this a couple of years. I really haven't used it, but I had to have it. It's one of those things. This book was not cheap. I cleaned up my desk and I think I still have it. Still a little damp there. Ann Lar was tuned into Anne, and I think I need to put my scarf on. I need this. I need to get a little napkin, I think. And she was showing this embroidery book. And I thought, well, I don't have any embroidery books or stitching book. It might be good to have it in my library, if you will. The things in this book are amazing. I mean, look at that. Talk about using your needle and thread like a paintbrush. Oh, what the stitch was called? That question? Oh, let me show you. Yeah, Gail will probably know. Susan Taylor Brown does it, Gail. I don't know if you can tell. Bullion, maybe, or bullion, or you have a long needle and you wrap it around. A lot of times, I forget, I haven't done it in a while. So this book is by Lorna Bateman. It may be in my storefront. I'm not sure. I'll double check that too. But there are so many beautiful things in here. Look at this. Yes, or bullion. It's such a cool stitch. Thanks, Gail. See, now this is really, framing your work. Look, pin cushions, tote bags. You could use a lot of different things for inspiration. Flower books. See, look, I was thinking even a doodle book. I have a doodle book that I have sitting right up here to my left. I thought, ooh, maybe I could use some of that for inspiration. Look at the picket fence. So this is not like something I would do necessarily a lot of all the time, but I am not sorry I purchased this. Look at the little bees in the web. I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous things. Look at that. My grandmother I would say that's wisteria. Or maybe lilac. Well, it looks like wisteria to me. My grandmother had a couple of arbors, and oh my gosh, the bees just loved it. And you'd have to scoot through under the arbor real quick because we were afraid of the bees. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. And they're just different size French knots. And of course, there's a lot of, oh, here we go. Bullion roses. The bullion rosebud consists of one small bullion in the center, surrounded by a pair of bullions worked into the same hole so that a concentric circle is formed. Yes, I think it is. Oh, look at this, girls. Climbing Roses. How about it? Isn't it gorgeous? Hey, there's Jacqueline. Good morning, Jacqueline. Look. Oh, she's got these names. Here, let's have a look at these real quick. Oh, she's got a lot of them. A to Z of garden flowers. Now, down here, she's got some samples. See, now I've looked at this several. Hey, Kimberly, good morning. I've looked at this several times and never noticed this. Okay, I can't pronounce the first one. Agapanthus, allium, bulrush, clematis, cornflower, daffodils, and of course the daisy, delphinium, forget-me-nots. I had trouble Tuesday night with my stream from StreamYard. My picture is blurry. I'm assuming I'm clear because nobody said anything. I'm hoping. It's very windy here today. Foxglove, look at that. Fuchsia, the coloring there really looks like a fuchsia. And then she's got grasses, ground cover. Oh, look at this one. Gypsophilia, hollyhock, hydrangea. Look at this, iris, jasmine, lavender, and then she's got a grouping of leaves and stems. Oh boy. Letras, Linaria, lupine. My son-in-law grows those. They are gorgeous. Poisonous, but gorgeous. Brenda, my 25-year-old has decided to start embroidery this week. She's picking it up fast. That's wonderful. Yeah, this is a great book to have on your shelf. Really, truly it is. Pansies, look at that. Petunias, oh my gosh, girls, look. Pinned flower. Puppies. This is where I started. Climbing Roses. A standard rose. I think is that the end of, oh no, Thistle. A tree. Valerian root. Isn't that some kind of a health thing? Oh, it was wisteria. Wisteria. I'm loving that. I'm loving that wisteria. So that's the end of her alphabet there for the alphabet of flowers. So really, if you want to check this out, I'm going to check and make sure it's in my storefront. But it's a great reference book. Great inspiration book. See, she's just drawing her patterns down, putting it on her fabric. So it's something else I want to talk to you about. Now, to hoop or not to hoop, I think that's a personal thing. I tend to like the hoop. Valerian is great for sleeping. I thought that sounded familiar. So again, even if you're a mixed media artist or you're more into the fabrics and textiles, you can use a lot of different things in your project or whatever you're working on. So whether you're saving little scraps of paper or little bits of applique or fabric, you can work them all together to make a beautiful end project or piece. So when you're out and about, you might want to check out thrift shops, Goodwills, yard sales, and sometimes you run into some cool stuff. My husband and I were recently checking out a garden center not too far from us. And did I say hi to Brenda? I don't know. I read your message, but I don't know if I said hi or good morning. Good morning, Brenda. Um, and sometimes you run into things you think, ooh, you know. So I sold these buttons. Now, I don't know if they're really vintage. I'm not sure it says vintage, but I don't think so much these look vintage. But we stopped into a little thrift shop that was near the garden center. These just look like regular plain buttons. I need another button like I need a third eye, okay? You've got a zillion hoops? Yeah. I have a couple that my neighbor gave me that were her mom's. My neighbor is 96. So you know how it's I should have pulled it out. The one is just wire, and the way it hook it's like a hook and hook, not a hook and eye, but it like hooks like this to cause the tension around the fabric. It's really cool. These look like these might be vintage. It could be a knockoff, but they look vintage. But these I thought really looked vintage. If I can find the little thumb index to pull it open. I'm gonna pull one of these out and show you. Aren't these cool? Now I would think if you're making a slow stitch like scroll type project, you could really snip that apart and use pieces to put on like a journal cover if you do that too. So here's my little storage box of Angie yo-yos. So I've got that. Put those off to the side. And I had gotten, I was able to get on an auction box from Pearl's Finds. So this is one of the laces Pearl included. I don't know if you can see, it's got a silver metallic thread running through there. This is a piece of a doily, I think. This is one of the bowls I made. Angie makes these bowls that are just stunning. And this is one that I made. I like to keep them with little bits of things in it. So this is just some stuff that I've been storing up, you know. I think I cut this off the other day when I was working on something, maybe my Tuesday Night Live. I've got a lot of this stuff, like this crochet trim or lace, you know, all this stuff, little bits of fabric. See, this is a little piece that you wouldn't necessarily be able to use for a larger project, but for a slow stitch project, it's like almost perfect. So any of these little things that you can't throw away, you know, just stick them in a little container. Or one time I was watching Beth Schuler, and she had this great big you've seen them in the supermarket. It's a clear plastic see-through container shaped like a teddy bear, I think it was she had. And she had all her little fabric bits in there. And I, at the time, had mine in something you couldn't see through. And I thought that was genius because I had to dump the whole thing out to root through it. But having a see-through container, you can move it around and toss it. Look what you're find what you're looking for and then just go for it instead of dumping the whole thing out. So I have recently switched, well, not recently, but I have switched to these huge tubs that had like corn, the little like Cheeto puffs in it. Yeah, Gal says she tries to have mostly see-through. It's frustrating if you can't see through your container and you got to dump everything out. I find it frustrating. Oh, this was a crochet project. I don't know if I did this online or not. This, of course, I put on a paper clip, but you can find little crochet patterns, and that would be really cute on a slow stitch project. Now, not all of us are going to be into telling a story like the Canadian artisan did. And I'm going to find that video and link it in my description box because hers was absolutely, hey, Dawn, good morning. Hers was absolutely gorgeous. So, and there for a while, I didn't have any hoops. So sometimes you can find them at a thrift shop or a sale at your local, sewing center or craft, big box craft store. And you can get a package of them for a couple of bucks. Now, I did have a hoop out, but I'm not seeing the hoop. So I'm thinking, I might as well just continue to embarrass myself and do a little bit of slow stitching today. Now I have beads that I can grab. I did pull out my embroidery threads. That's something. Oh yeah, I've got this too. So I just pulled out a basket that I could throw some stuff in that I might want to use today. This I'd gotten from my little bundle from Pearls, little cloth. They're kind of cloth-like. I don't think they're paper. So they might be fun. This is just a bag of bits, that I know this has got some bigger buttons in them, but they're cool. Different laces and whatnot. And then, oh, this is what I was thinking. Has anybody done this? I was wondering, couldn't I see? I really like this flower. I use this stencil a lot. And we probably all have a lot of different stencils, right? Have you ever done this? Have you ever thought about taking a stencil and using it as, yeah, I think I like using a hoop too. You also have a scrolling frame. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Brenda says, I have buttons in every room of the house except the bathroom. Some are my grandmother's cut from cloth that she made. Oh, Brenda, that almost makes me drool. I like putting them in jars and they are just sitting around. Well, I did that with my embroidery thread, and I have a lot of my supplies in my craft room here in clear jars because they add decor to your room. So I love having this. Now, I wish this is really a cool jar to me. It didn't have any lid, but see, I'm all about shapes and stuff. So, like, I had to have this jar. I don't even remember where I bought it, but it just a kind of a different shape to me. Nice wide mouth. And then I started putting color families on these binder rings. So now when I go in to get a color, or if I do decide to dump this, I'm not picking up 100 of them. I can pick them up, in clumps, in groups. And that's a little easier to manage for me. I get frustrated kind of easily. But what about using a stencil? And I don't know if now, I know you can get fabric pencils, which I don't think I have. But I didn't want to use a graphite pencil because the crumbs I don't think would wipe off. Yeah, see, I'm not really seeing that. We probably do have a fabric pencil. That might be a better idea, but has anybody ever tried this where you just put down a stencil and trace your shape and then use that to stitch? Food for thought, perhaps. So I'm not sure all right, Brenda said, I don't know what this scrolling frame is called. I'll go find her real name. Thanks, Brenda. Okay, so Gail has done the stencil thing. Gail, what did you use to trace it down? Did you use a fabric pencil? You know what? I bet a StazOn would work because that's supposed to be able to write on anything. I didn't want to use anything too dark because my stitching's not so good. All right. So where to start working with something. So now, like I said, if you've just come in, this backing is not covered so that I can stitch through. And then when I have it the way I want it, I can cover the back with something and it'll look all pretty. So I think I want some kind of a button here, or maybe a little flower. We're going to start easy. I kind of like this because, see, I have green here and maybe that little guy and then a bead in the center. Oh, I didn't know that existed. Gail uses pens that will disappear with heat. Oh, I'll have to check that out. I'll have to check that out. All right, so now I want to find, oh, this ought to be a challenge because I didn't think about this. I need a little, oh, maybe I have one right here. Oh, this will work. This will work. So I like to keep several projects by my comfy chair because then in the evening, if I don't feel like coloring, I've got some options. So I think it's time for me to pull out a slow stitch project. Oh, Gail, that would be great. Hey, there's Devin. Good morning, Devin. Devin says Frixion pens disappear with heat. Is that what you use, Gail? Gail's going to get a link. Yeah, I'm going to have to get one of those because I really like the idea of using a stencil to give me. Now, in the book that I showed, and I'm sure there's things online too where you can transfer patterns. And Gail says, yes, that's what she uses. Frixion pens. Where's my, I got to find Carol's. Really, Devin? Devin said she just started using those for watercolor. Easy Stitch scroll frame. Yeah, you are close, Brenda. Thank you. All right, so Frixion pen. Cool. Oh, this is turning out to be cool. Lots of information. Thank you, ladies. All right, so I need a little bead. I'm going to attach that, and I need some thread. I think I'm just going to use in my little basket. I pulled out some different threads that I might use today and discovered I had a new package of needles. This is Gold Eye Milner needles, number 3, 5, 7, and 9, which I guess I'm sure are the sizes, which really mean nothing to me. So I'm just going to take one. Looks like I already took one out. Well, I'm thinking about the ease of threading it too. Got my contact lenses. Woohoo! So that's one thing. I'm trying to get the link, but it's too long. Well, we have the name, so I can look too and put it in my description box. I might also throw it in my Amazon storefront. Might be handy for people. Now this feels a little heavier. Not all threads are created equal, right, girls? Hey, Christine G, good morning. Nice to see you. Well, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm feeling better. I'm still on my antibiotic. I'm just trying to see. Oh, this is cotton for hand quilting. So this is a little heavier. So I think this will be good. Oh, here's my hoop. Here's my hoop. I'll just put that there in case I want it. I also have a bunch of tatting threads that really you could use for slow stitching, right? All right. Thinking, what the heck did I do with my little fleur? All right, let's thread this needle. She got it. Thanks, Gail. All right, wrong glasses. I gotta switch. Gotta switch. I wear glasses over top of my contact lenses because I can't do the. All right. A nice cut, sharp edge makes it easier to thread your needle. Or so it should be. Somewhere I have a threader thingy. I think I just pulled it back out. I might have to get a bigger eye. So what did you do this morning? Oh, I was in Pink Girly streaming. We spent a half an hour watching her trying to thread a needle. Okay, Gail. All right, so I'm going to grab a little bead out at some point. So I'm going to take the little bead. Now I've got this little, this was some applique stuff that I purchased, and I think this had a pearl in it for some reason. I took that out, stitched it on, and I guess this is paper, but I'm going to add that. I'm going to come right through the back of my scroll. I'm just going to call it a scroll. I made a little knot, not a huge knot. And then I'm going to, I think, grab a little pearl. Let's see if it goes over my needle. Ah, it did. And then I'm just going to come back down. This is Slow Stitching for Dummies in video form. I guess I could go back up and do it twice, but I don't think I need to. So then I'm just going to knot it here. Now, if I was doing some kind of a design or something, I would just carry my thread. Now, I picked the green because I have green going on here. Now, I want to stitch this down. Now, this is kind of loosey-goosey here. See, I stitched here, and then I stitched here, and I didn't pull this very tight. So I'm thinking I want to put some kind of a tuck in there. Where are my pins? I'll be switching glasses back and forth. Or maybe I should put my pin in the other way. See if I can catch it to hold it there. And I think I might want to use something a little thicker here, which maybe I think I pulled the yellow out. This is a variegated tatting threads. That's a thinner one. So it should be a higher number, number 8. And let's put this, I'm not going to undo this threaded needle. That's a great idea, Connie. That would be fun. That would definitely be a fun project. This is definitely a really long needle, but I like it. Um, Here's a dual tip pen that Brenda uses. Thank you, Devin. Devin, is the postal strike over in Canada? I have a card I want to send you, and I didn't know if I should wait. And I didn't. I don't know. I didn't know if it was over yet. All right, so let's see how I wrap this. Now, this is just, oh, it's on pause. Okay. I, I'm not sure if I have I'll contact you. I'm not sure if I have your new address. I know you've been in your house a while, but Lori tends to be behind. All right. Let's see if I can get this one threaded. Now, I think I'm going to double this one. You don't want your threads. This is just basic stuff, and most of us know this stuff. But just in case there's someone who doesn't, or a replayer who doesn't, I'm just going to say, you don't want to constantly be rethreading and threading your needle. But you don't want your thread so long that it gets hung up on pins or buttons or whatever else you have going on your piece. So I doubled this because I want a heavier stitch presence down here. And I think it would be fun to do some kind of a leaf. I don't know if I can get let's see if I can get my little hoop one. Little hoop-de-doop. Let's see. We don't have a gauge that we can watch to see temperatures here at this house. I never know how cold it is here. Now that pin's probably gonna be in my way. Oh, I don't know if I can do it. Let's see, this has batting. I might not be able to get the hoop to go. I have different size hoops. Yeah, I think that one's not going to work. I don't have enough stretch. Although, I wonder if I could, hey, maybe if I could, let's take it all the way out. Now I can stretch it. I don't know if that's going to hold, though. Watch the old woman struggle with her embroidery hoop. No, it's not going to do. I have a wild, crazy orange one somewhere. It's a little bigger, but I didn't pull that out. Not sure where that is right this second. All right, so we're just going. Now there's a stitch that I did somewhere, and Gail would know what this is called too. Let me see if I can find it. And I don't really know how to do it. I just kind of winged it. Let's see. I just saw it might be on this one. It looks like leaves. It looks like a stem with little leaves. Susan Taylor Brown does it all the time. It's just darling. I don't have anything else that I Could swear I just saw it. Maybe I saw it in the book. In the book. In the book. Maybe she's crazy. That's a more likely story. It's very, very windy and cold here. Windy and cold. My granddaughter used to say when she was little, too windy, too windy. All right, so I think I'm just gonna, let's see if I can turn it this way. This is probably, now I'm not an expert. So anybody that's watching this, don't, do some research. Thank you, Devin. Don't go by me. So that's just a little stitch I'm putting in there. I'm going to come up through the center of that, or I'm going to attempt to. And then make another little stitch. I think you'll be happier with yourself if you can keep your stitches, more kind of like the same size. I'm not really good at that, but I'm a work in progress. But no matter what you do, you're gonna like it. It's gonna be fun. And if you go at it with the mindset that, hey, whatever I do is gonna be okay, and not let yourself get too, anal or crazy about it, it could be an enjoyable experience. Like when I Googled what does slow stitch mean, first thing it said was it's about the journey. So I don't know if this is a split stitch or what this is really called. The other thing I'll say is that Kellyanne Rawson, um, she had a series there for a while where she was showing how to do different slow stitches. So I should link that too. I should link her channel. Just so you have some resources. I'm sure there are others. Gail Hillerson, I know Gail follows Susan Taylor Brown. Quite a variety of slow stitch. Yeah, the other thing that I found, it said using thread and needle like you would your paintbrush. I thought that was cool. Now, this one piece of fabric that I put down is really frayed, so I'm just stitching over top of that. But my question, Gail, is I know you follow Susan Taylor Brown. That's not a question. But are there others that you like to follow too? I'm going to put Susan's link in my. Hey, there's Kel. Kel, did you hear me talking about you? Kel, you could put in your own channel if you want. I was just telling the girls about your slow stitch series. Oopsie, now that stitch got really big. Now, what I'm doing really kind of is basting down this loose piece of fabric with what I would think would be called something like a split stitch, but that's probably not accurate. So we're having 15 people here for. Oh, yes, Gail, go ahead. I'm going to put Carol in my description box. I was going to look for that years ago. She did that, like she did a whole year kind of embroidery. That scroll she did was just absolutely divine. Oh, Devin got you, Kel. Devin already got it. Thanks, Devin. So I just wanted a chunkier look here at the bottom. And then if you just came in, this when I stitched down this end and this end, I didn't pull my fabric tight enough. So I'm putting a little tuck in here. Carol is starting up again. Oh, cool. I saw her with Anne the other day. Carol's very talented in a lot of areas. So Gail said she also likes Feather Stitch House. Oh, thanks, Gail. Okay, that's cool. So there's another resource for anyone who's interested. I mean, I would think most of us who have had a household for any number of years, you've got to have some kind of thread and needle laying around, if you wanted to get started on something. K3N is another one. Cool. Thanks, Gail. No, really, Devin? Oh, that's so cool. Thank you. She said Carol's new video, she showed her scroll and discussed the year ahead. Very nice. Okay, so I want to catch that tuck. Yeah, I will always remember that of Carol. That scroll was just amazing. Now, some of us here, you may not really be into this fabric thing, and that's okay, but you may want to try like something smaller and then add it to a mixed media piece. I don't know if I caught that tuck very well. Add it to the front of a journal cover. See, I don't like to give the TV my full attention. So when I'm sitting at night, coloring really is kind of mindless for me. This wouldn't be mindless. That's okay, Ange. Just relax and have a good time. And because I have left the back open, I can, this can be messy because I'm going to cover this up with another piece of fabric. So I'm just trying to stitch down this loose edge that I have. Sometimes you purchase something that you think, oh man, that is so, well, a lot of stuff I purchase, that is so cool. I don't want to use it. Or I don't want to. See, for me, I have an Etsy shop. If some of you aren't aware, I do have an Etsy shop. So when I make things, I like to make and sell things. And when I make them, I don't always want to put something on it that, might go live somewhere else. A little bit of stinge going on there. But say you take a little square of cantha fabric or just some cotton or some muslin, and you do the stencil thing, and you do your pattern, and you put that on, and you stitch it one night. Well, then you could bring it to your scroll and add it somewhere, or add it to a journal cover. It's got another link there for us. Wait a minute, I need my glasses to read that. Sarah Humphrey, Homfray embroidery. Thanks, Gail. Oh, thanks, Devin. There's my Etsy shop. Thank you. It's not a lot in there right now. I gotta get busy. People were talking about having a word for the year. I'm thinking about adopting a phrase for the year and hanging it up so I can see it all the time, like get it done. Oh my gosh. I'm so ADD. I go from one project to the other project, and I just don't. I do get some things done, but I don't get enough done. And then if you have embroidery threads, see, there was a time in my life where I did a lot of cross stitch and got a lot of threads left over from that. The threads, well, I guess they can get a little Roxy Create. Oh my gosh, Gail, you got tons. That's cool. Thank you. I mean, some of the vintage threads that you might pick up, sometimes they break easily. But I mean, for the most part, you can use them for a long time without having a problem. So I have a lot of threads. And, oh yeah, I didn't complete. Let's see, what'd she say? Lori, I think you could pick a phrase or you can choose. Oh, okay, so I could do either. Okay, cool. Thanks, Evan. Yeah, so get it done. Try to keep myself focused on getting something finished. I have finished a couple things lately. Does feel good to finish. Yes, Devin chose fun and fearless. So if you I think I went a little crooked here, but if you do a scroll, like, so what I did for this one is I took different pieces of fabric that I liked and I cut the pieces like a rectangle type shape. I made them all the same width. They weren't all the same length, if I've got that right. Widths and lengths I struggle with. I'm going to scoot this little line right under here. Get her done. It is. There was a comedian who was at Jeff Foxworthy. Oh, Larry the Cable Guy, I think, used to say, "Get her done." All right. So because I used a really long, as my aunt would say, sword size needle, I'm getting to where I'm having a hard time maneuvering. So I'm just going to finish this stitch here. So if you're going through your scraps of fabric, sometimes you pick up, say, like a bundle of something at Goodwill or a charity shop or a thrift store, or you may purchase something from one of the girls online that we know that sells. I just took the squares, if you will, that I wanted to use, and I just stitched them together, or I laid them on my batting. I don't even know if I stitched them. No, that's not stitched. And then I covered up the lines with either a stitching or, say, like this piece of lace. I guess you could call it lace, applique lace. And then I made a great big long runner type piece. So if you have something like this, where it's like it was, see, I didn't get that down very well. A panel where it's got a picture on it, a panel. Now, I don't know if you can tell, I did outline Garden Blessing. I didn't do the 25. But see, these flowers, I could fill them in with stitches. Let me see if I can find something and I could really nail down that. There's a pot behind there. What would be a good stitch for, I'm not good at the satin stitch. It's still really kind of lumpy bumpy. But this is just for me. So now I do have a little wiggle room here if I snip those basting stitches, I could pull this up a little bit. All right, where's my tub of Let's see if I've got anything that looks close to, oh, there, this would work. Come on, little feller. Oh, he's loose. He's in there loose. How'd you get loose? Now, I was going to say earlier, and I didn't finish this thought. Shocker. If you have any of embroidery threads, there's 6 threads together. So if you want a heavier look, you use all 6. If you want a lighter look, you separate them. So I want to do this pot. So I'm going to use all 6 threads together. And I'm going to try this satin. I think the satin stitch is just, you lay stitches down real close together, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Oops, didn't close my bead box. That could be very dangerous. Very dangerous. All right. Now I do find, you know what, I'm going to look, oops, sorry. I'm so sorry, hit the camera. I do have my one box here. Let me just see if there's I don't think it is, but let me just see if there's a larger hoop. I can't believe how windy it is. Whoa. What? I've got a smaller hoop, but not larger. Right here, at least. I like my fabric to be taut. So I think that's one reason why, for me personally, I like the hoop. What's Ange say? I think yellow and purple looks good with it. Yes, they do. They definitely do, in my opinion, as well. All right, let's see if I can get this baby threaded. This might be a stretch. Pearl cotton is a good choice for beginners. It comes in different sizes. I have a bunch of really cool threads. I don't know where they are. Oh, I know where some of them are. I've got a couple here. Where did I put my... I've told this story before. Oh, that's not one of them. I thought I had one here. I had purchased, when I was looking for, oh shoot, I wanted to show you that. I don't think I have it in there. I had them hanging next to me here for the longest time, and then I moved them. I guess none of us are surprised about that either. This is the little needle case that I made, and I wanted to put my little tubes of needles in here, but they keep slipping out. I need to get a piece of elastic and stitch in there, and I just haven't done it. But what I did do is I put a magnet in here. So for this one, it just sticks to it. I don't have to stab it through. But anyway, like, see, I'm all over the place. So I was ordering a lot of tatting threads. Great price. I got a ton of them, and I'm waiting for my order to come. And my box arrives. I'm all excited. And when I open it up, there's a plastic horse and all kinds of weird stuff in this box. I'm like, what? What? So I sent a message to the person that I purchased from. And the next day in the mail, I got another box. Well, here she had two customers with the first name Lorraine. And she got confused and she sent me both packages. So I said, no problem, I'll send it back to you. So she sent me a label. You know, it didn't cost me anything. I was happy to, get it back to her. Wait a minute, I gotta switch my glasses again. So she was so thankful. She then sent me another package with all these really cool embroidery threads. And there's metallic, but they're not on they're not on like a ball like this or a spool. They're on a card, like a flat card. And the colors are just they're just beautiful. I had one in my hand the other day and I don't know what I do with it. So I lucked into that. That was it wasn't necessary. I really was happy to send it back to her. See, now satin stitch to me is not for the faint of heart. I'm already off on the bottom. I should have started on that outside edge. And sometimes I don't get my stitches close enough together. But by the same token, the more you do it, the better at it you get, right? So I'm just wanting to fill in this space that will hopefully look like the pot that these, I think, petunias are in. Now, there are people that can do this kind of work and the back looks just as neat as the front. Yeah. Not me. And one of the things that I remember most from being in a couple of Susan Taylor Brown's live streams is she stitches over top of stuff. Like she'll have a plastic or a metal ring. I don't know if she calls that like she couches it down or something. Like she just stitches around. So cool. Her stuff is so cool. You got to be careful of your little fingers. You don't want to be stabbing your fingers. Oh, is it? Okay, thanks, Gail. Yeah, I don't have a ring. Well, this is not really a ring, but it'll give you the idea if you're not familiar with it. I do have little rings somewhere. But say you have something like this. See, this is the other thing. Or say it could be like a stitch marker for knitting. It's just a circle. It doesn't have this piece on it though. It's just a circle. And then Susan will put that down. And then she just brings her thread up and over real close next to each other, all the way around that ring. And it's like, woo, fabulous. Fabulous when she's done. So there again, when you're out thrifting, or what did I do with my needle? It's underneath. Um, at a yard sale in your neighborhood or something like that, you see some random things. You got to think outside the box and think, oh, I could use that in my slow stitch project and just stitch that down. All right, so now this one, I think I need to go all the way up there. And then I'm going to come in here. So this one, I've got a pattern here. I've got something that I'm following. But if you don't, you can transfer patterns. Give yourself a guideline for stitching. Or you could do like my niece used to do and just sit down with a blank piece of muslin and create an image. She's the knitter. She knits now. She's not, well, that doesn't look so super great. I should have brought that all the way down. But I'm going to end this. Instead of dragging my thread across, I'm just going to knot this on the back. Just a simple knot. Now remember, my back is going to be covered with another piece of fabric, so you're not going to see all this minutia. I want to get this part here. Let me see what Brenda's saying. Dad's calling again. Be right back. No problem. Brenda said, I get a bag of machine embroidery thread, 30 plus spools. I gave them $2.99. Wow. I haven't tried using any of it yet. It was cheap enough. That's if it doesn't work for hand stitching. I haven't lost much. Yeah. Gail said, he might have butt dialed. Yes, they are pretty to look at. You could put them in a big jar, right? I love that. I have some older, what I would call like vintage threads, and I wanted it for the spools, but I thought I could use the threads. Well, I put them in my machine, and I've had problems doing that, using the old threads in my machine. They bust on me real easy. Of course, I think my machine probably needs to have a spa day, but that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. We're going to do the other part of this pot. This is where I didn't catch. I made a little tuck here because I didn't lay my fabric down flat enough. Same with needles too. My sister and I and my niece, gosh, it's been 2 or 3 years now, we went to Rhinebeck, New York. And that's a fiber festival. Talk about a good time. Oh my gosh, we stayed over a couple of days. It was just so cool, so neat. Yarn and fabric and threads. I mean, so my sister Nancy and I, we were buying something to stitch. I don't even remember now, but the lady was talking about, it was a chenille needle that she recommended. I guess I don't know if it's just sharper or But that's something to think of too. Some of your needles, they would get worn and dull from going in and out of fabric or whatever too, right? So if you're struggling, it could be your needle. That's a thing. Thanks, Gail. So I think we bought a package and split it. But if you ever get the opportunity to go to the wool, here I'm struggling. I got the wrong glasses down again. The that Rhinebeck Wool and Sheep Festival. Oh my gosh, it was so great. Now, on something like this, you can spend as little or as much time as you want, fussing with it. You might just pick out a couple of things to enhance with your stitching, or you might just decide to stitch the whole blasted thing, you know? Chenille needles are ideal for crewel and ribbon embroidery and are also used for surface embroidery. Their sharp points can pierce through tightly woven fabrics like silk or satin. Oh, thanks, Gail. And then Kel also says chenille needles are popular for embroidery. They come in different sizes for different threads and ribbons. Thanks, Kel. They have a big eye. There we go. Just trying to catch this. I keep leaning in. I'm leaning. I could have gotten that one closer. All right, now I'm thinking about doing some, because I don't know a lot of other stitches. I'm thinking about doing just, what's Ange say? Are you going to take a nap? Okay, sweetie. We'll see you later. Because I don't know a lot of other stitches, I'm thinking about maybe putting some French knots in that petunia. No, it's not a petunia. Pansy. See how it looks. So for that, I would need a couple of different color threads. So let's see what I have. I have two big jars I only got the one jar down, of embroidery threads. That doesn't look too bad. I guess this is more of the pot over here, and I can finish that maybe tonight. Oh, no, not tonight. We're having 15 people for dinner. All right. So let's see. So I could use a couple of different things. I could use a dark color for the center. I'm going to dump these. This may not have, and I might not do the purple. Let's just see what I have available. And oh, there's a purple. All right, so this one's got a light and dark purple on it. That would be great. And then I need some kind of a pinky. That might work. I'll hold that one aside. I need some kind of a pink. I'm thinking this dark green I could use as a center, but I'm not sure that I have any black in here. Oh, there's some more purple. So if I'm trying to guide the coloring on the print, could use 2 or 3 different colors of purple. Yeah. Let's see. All right, so I'm thinking the best thing to do would have a couple of different needles going with different colors. So I'll just start with wonder if I can get, boy, right here really bothers me. I think it's time for another cortisone shot, right down in there. All right, let's pull out another needle. I have that great big needle I just had with the brown in it. I think I want to leave that. Let's get another one of these out. These are called milliner's needles. I don't know. If this is for a particular thing. Long needles with round eyes used for bonnet and hat making, pleating, ribbon embroidery, and embellishing decorations. Do you, Gail? I know I've said this before. My one doctor years ago said, "Well, what do you do? What are you doing all the time?" I said, "Well, I'm coloring or knitting mostly." And he's like, "Well, then stop it." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, no." No, I don't think so, Doc. Let's grab a couple of these out. Okay, so I'm not the best French knotter you'll ever meet. I usually, when I start doing them, I get better as I go. But I guess the best rule of thumb is to wrap it like, what, 4 times? And then if you want a heavier presence, you wrap it more. Did I just... Oh, good grief. I put them there. Jeez Louise. If you have a magnet that you can keep when you're working on something like this, if you're sitting down, it's nice to have a magnet where you can throw your needle to and it just will stick there. All right, so I definitely want this dark purple. I might need 3. I'll get them out. Don't know why the purple. I guess I was running out of rings. I don't know why the purple. And there's kind of like a muted pink, which I kind of like this coloring for that. The green I think I'm going to use instead of black for center. Popping those back in my jar. So let's see if I can get this looking like a little something something. Oh, they are, Gail. Maybe that's why I bought them. Gail says the Milner needles are good for making. The Milner needles are good for making the bullion stitch. All right, so my idea is to start with the center. Now those threads are uneven. I have a hard time threading uneven. This guy is not. Let's try the other end, see even more splayed. Okay. Sometimes I cut it on an angle. I think I got it. Whoa. Brittany said the milliner needle eyes are the same diameter as the rest of the needle. This makes French knots and bullion stitches easier because the stitches. Oh, thanks, Brenda. Okay, cool. All right, so now I don't want my center to be too terrible. I could probably have split this thread, but I'm just going to do 2 or 3 little. So you bring your needle up and then you wind your thread. I'm just going to do 3 times. You go back down the same spot, and I find that if I kind of hold my thread taut, I get a better French knot. Oh, he's really fluffy. See, I'm not liking that, so I'm going to snip that one off. Don't like it. Boop, gone. I should have maybe divided this for thread. Brenda said she's picked out thread for a thistle. Now I need a scrap of fabric. Oh, cool. Cool. All right, let's give it another go. To me, this is where a third hand would come in handy. All right, so I want to maybe wrap it a little tighter. Go back down that same spot. Definitely a hoop would be better for me. Oh. Yeah, that's much better. All right, so let's do it again. Do it all over again. A regular is 2 to 3 times. Thanks, Kel. I did 3. I'm pulling that taut. Oh boy, this is. Got it. Okay. I think I'm going to put one more. Maybe right there. I know I've bought some in black embroidery thread. I think I have it in my bottom drawer, but I didn't look. But this green will do me. Okay, not too bad. Now, because I don't know too much and I really don't have a plethora of stitches in my head, probably another stitch would look nicer on these petals. But I don't know what. So I was just thinking French knot. Has anybody else got a better idea? I could look through the book. I don't think I want to do a satin stitch. See if anything catches my eye. Oh, here's like what I was talking about that Susan Taylor Brown does. I don't know if this lady covered a ring, but that's the idea. Well, that's what hers looks like when she's done. Uneven satin stitch. I'm really bad at the satin stitch, Cal, but it might be a good idea. That might look nicer. Oh my gosh, I just love that hydrangea. Is there a, let's see where it says. I don't think she has it in here. Maybe under satin. I wonder what a seed stitch is. 55, 56. That's weaving. Turkey work. Satin stitch. Oh, I see. All right, well, I'm going to try uneven. Yeah, right there, seed stitch. Gail's exactly right. A little short, kind of random. Long and short stitch. Is this what you're talking about, Cal? I guess that could be considered an uneven satin, right? Maybe I'll try that. Yes, that's what Cal says. Yes. Okay, let me try that. All right, so I'm going to grab another needle and I'm going to start with the dark. Let's see, what is my time? Okay, I can still go a couple more minutes, another 15 minutes maybe. And I want to cover as much ground as I can. So I'm going to work with the 6 strands. Come on, baby. You know what? This green one was easier. I'm not going to use that green anymore. Let's see if I can get this one threaded. When I was cleaning up my desk, I didn't find my needle threader. Oh, goodness. See, it's just all, where do I have some water? Let's see. Really wet the end of that. Hubs is taking the dog out. He doesn't want to yell at her to come back in, so we're using this button we have. We're teaching her to hit this button when she needs to go out. The problem is she just keeps hitting it because she wants to be outside. Ooh. All right, let's try plan B. Let's try it this way. It's just not going. All right, back to the big sword. Stay sit. All right, got it. Oof. All right, so let's not make that too terribly long. I'm going to knot my end. And I'm just going to start where the darker purple is. Christine said, this book is lovely if you don't have a reference book for stitching. Thanks, Christine. I'm trying to determine which way I want my stitches to go. Maybe I'll go this way. Now I'm just following what's on the fabric color-wise. Oh, Gail's got that one. She says it's great. She loves Jennifer's work. Thanks. It's always nice to have a personal testimony of how you like, something you might be thinking about purchasing. You could hear the bell. Yeah, we pull the button after she goes out and does her thing. We've been pulling the button up, and then because there's certain times a day, every so many hours she goes out. And we put the button down when we need, because when she comes back in, she just keeps hitting it. What size ribbon do you get for that? Like an 1/8 of an inch, or is that a particular kind of thread that they have that they call ribbon thread? That sounds interesting. I bet you that's really pretty. Okay, this one, I think I'm going to go a little longer. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure what that looks like. Now I've got a little tiny bit here of the dark purple, and then on the outer edge. An 1/8 or a 1/4, just depends. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go on the outer edge. And something like this, I would think you could, especially if it's, your own thing and your own ideas, you could switch it up and use different stitches on the different flowers, like you could do this uneven satin stitch on this pansy, and then on this pansy, you might decide to do the French knots or something different. All right, so I'm going to end this. And I'm going to snipper. Now I'm going to save this thread because I'll be coming back to that. And then let's get, it really looks like the lighter purple there. So I'm going to take a little bit of this. And really, I mean, once you cover it up, as long as it looks good, you could really do, I mean, I could change this totally and do all pinks or just reds or, you know, once you stitch over it, it's going to look nice. And somebody else who looks at it's not going to say, oh, wasn't that supposed to be purples? Sometimes I get intimidated by what is in front of me, but it's all, creative instinct. Do what you want. So I'm not sure about this. So I'm going to go the very bottom and make this bottom part of the petal the light purple. Try to build with Ebby. She comes to me and says, I got to go. Oh, Ebby's I'm guessing a dog. The bell became an annoying toy. She just liked to make the noise. Well, that could be part of it for ours too. But she's staring at the outside and she just keeps, like earlier today before I came on, she must have hit it 6 times in a row. And she had just been out. I never thought we would get her to hit the bell. So I'm really surprised that she can even do it. But she would be out all the time and we would let her out more. But if we're not out there, she starts digging. And we have a lot of moles and she can smell them and she goes crazy chasing them, sniffing and chasing them from where they're running under the ground. Now this one I'm trying to really get my bottom stitch all going back to the same point to try to make it look like a petal. So now I think I'm going to start over here and I'm going to bring this stitch. Elvin just figured he needed to go and sit at the door all on his own, and then when he needs to go out, and that Jenny does that too. But see, for us, our back door is quite a distance from where we are normally sitting, and I'm half deaf. I mean, we don't see her. Even if I'm here in the same room where the door is, my back is to it. So we needed some way for her to signal us if we're not watching her all the time. I mean, she's been really good. She has not, knock on wood, had an accident in like a really long time. My Crazy Stitches. There's one that Kel recommends. Thanks, Kel. Oh, he barks. Good he's good. Yeah, we had one dog that barked. The last one we had to put down, Bella, she never caught on to the barking. She would just go and sit forever. But then towards the end, when she was so sick, then she would have an accident. All right, I'm trying to really pay attention to the edge of where the coloring is. Oh, you do, Christine? Oh, that's not good. These moles are, I mean, sometimes you can see the ground moving up, so they're just under the surface. They dig for grubs. Oh boy. Last night Jenny was crying. I couldn't imagine what she was crying about. Ron was out. He went to card club. I was all nestled in my comfy chair. I'm like, what is it? So I just figured she had to go out because she was up. She kept jumping up on me and like pulling at me. I'm thinking, well, maybe she has to go out. I don't know. Can you see that? It doesn't look too bad. I want to leave that yellow space there. I think maybe one more stitch. So I feel horrible telling you this, but so I got up, got my shoes on, put her little sweater on because it's so cold. So I let her out and she goes out and she starts licking the snow. And I'm like, what? So we've got this big jug. Hey, Sherry, how are you? Nice to see you. Big jug. And when you tip it over, it releases water as she drinks. And then we've got our food dish, and then we've got another little bowl that we keep water in there. I'm like, does she not have water? Well, Ron, when he feeds her, sometimes he doesn't remember to check her water. Well, here she was out of water. She was crying because the poor thing was thirsty. So I filled up the jug. My goodness. All right, I think I want to get some of that pink in there. See how that looks. I guess I want to go follow the same, following the same stitch direction. Yeah, I felt bad. The jug has a design on it, so it's supposed to make it easier to see when the water, is down low. All right, I'm liking this big needle because I can. And we always have that extra bowl. We usually have, because she likes to drink out of the one that's got the big jug. That's what she usually drinks out of. So the extra little bowl is just in case. But here we didn't realize she had emptied that out too. That's Tom's job. Refill his water. Yeah, it's a good idea to have more than one. Okay. I'm going to try to get this pink in here. And then I think I will call it a day for stitching. So thank you all for coming. I'm going to finish up this little bit of pink here, kind of see what it looks like. I hope perhaps this inspires you to maybe get out your needle and some fabric and some thread and, just relax and do what you can do. There's always things to learn. It's fun to learn this kind of stuff, I think. And so we've given you a lot of links today, and I'll put a few more in my description box. That's okay. Thanks, Evan. And just as a reminder, tomorrow afternoon, Lovely's Crafting Lodge is doing a sale. And Saturday, I think late afternoon, I forget now what she told me, Debbie Ebbs is having a de-stash. I think they're the not normally. Well, Jacqueline's normal. She's doing once a month. But Debbie, I think I pierced. There we go. Debbie uh, it's not like a normal time slot. That's what I'm trying to get at. So they sound like fun things to do. If you've got nothing going on, you can join in and come hang out with us. Not too bad. So I'm going to still do that uneven. I'm going to put a little bit of light purple up here and then the dark stuff down here. And then light purple down there. And I gotta pick out a yellow. So I didn't get a whole lot done. I mean, it is slow stitching. So, don't be in a rush. Like we said at the beginning, it's the journey. It's something you need to enjoy. I don't know what the one stitch is that I'm thinking of. Gail will know. Let me get a little piece of paper. I'll draw it, and then she can tell me. It's kind of like pen. Let's get a pen. Thank you, Gail. Okay, so it's like Susan Taylor Brown would say, like, make a stem like this, I think. And then little petals like this. It's just just freehand. Like she didn't have anything marked down. And then she would just stitch and then make a petal. Do you know what that's called, Gail, or what? Let's see if Gail answers. Sure, you need to get hooked up with some people in your area that could. A detached lazy daisy. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I think I want to do. Sure, you need to get hooked up with like I would be happy to send you something. I wonder what maybe I could send you something that wouldn't be too outrageously priced. Shipping to Canada is just so tough. She is cute? Oh, I didn't realize that about her. Well, she's fabulous. Really, she's new. Boy, I thought she was an expert. Anywho, yes, finding stuff like this at a thrift shop or a charity shop, or, sometimes they'll have like little bags or bins, just for free grab bags, but it's fun. And, you could also think about, if you don't have any money that you can use for this kind of thing or art kind of thing, you might have, say, a piece of clothing that's too big or too small anymore, or something laying around that you're going to get, instead of Goodwilling it, rip it apart. Take take the buttons, take the fabric, cut it up in pieces. Not an expert. She's a freestyle stitcher. Really? Wow, that's cool. I didn't know that. Or you might have an old tablecloth or a pillowcase that has some kind of a cool edge. Think about using those kinds of things. And then maybe pick up from your dollar store, a thimble, not a thimble, a spool of thread, a little package of needles, get creative that way, and then you can layer like a Kantha fabric. You could layer the little bits of fabric scraps you might have laying around, or like from an old shirt or even a t-shirt, take it apart and layer it. That can give you, if you want a little thicker kind of a look. Anyway, so I enjoyed today. Thanks for joining me, keeping me company. And Thursday, so enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. I hope to see you again on Sunday, Lord willing. And that's it for me. I'm going to get on with my day, and there'll be some more creativity for sure. But I've also got to call my neighbor and then get ready for our Bible study tonight. So that's on my agenda for the rest of today. So don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. And I'll see you all next time. Oh, you're welcome, Brenda. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.